Primary 7. I love a good news story, and today's and tomorrow's task is all about that. So, our learning is going to be we are learning to create a newspaper article using accurate features. Now, we had a look at that yesterday and the different features of a newspaper article in your BBC Bite Size activities. Today, we're going to move on from those, remembering those key features, and we're going to do a little bit of research to find your own good news story. And then tomorrow, you're going to write it as a newspaper article. Some of you might already have a good news story. I know one of you shared with me a really good news story last week. So you might want to choose something you've already looked at. You might want to share something that maybe is a good news story that's personal to you, or you might want to use ones that I have suggested. Now, you've already read through my good news story that I wanted to share with you, which was about the Sikh community coming together just before Christmas and creating meals for the Kent truckers that were stuck for days just in a big queue waiting to get on a ferry to France. And that was a really happy, positive thing that came out of a really sad situation. And good news stories can be really positive experiences, even if they have come from what might be adverse situations. I'm going to review over our newspaper article features just now. So remember, when you're coming to write your newspaper report, or indeed when you're planning today, I would like you to think of a name for your newspaper. I want you to be creative with all of your language today, but it is important that you're using a factual way to explain your newspaper articles. I'd like you to think of using a headline, maybe that has a pun or a rhyme or an alliteration. I want you to think about a subtitle that creates a little bit more information. Make sure you add in your name. I want you to include an introductory paragraph that shares the who, what, why, where, and when. And that's something that you really did think about yesterday in BBC Bite Size. I want you to think about sharing the information that you have in a chronological order. Sharing any pictures, and they have to be relevant pictures with captions. And I'd also like you to think about using the third person to write your news article. You might want to share examples of reported speech or indirect speech, but I would definitely like you to share direct speech using inverted commas that we reviewed a few weeks ago. Again, it's going to be formal language that I'm looking for. And also in your conclusion, you're going to summarize the key events that have happened and then just share maybe what might happen next. Primary 7, I'm going to just review over what writing in the third person might be. So I've got a few sentences here, and you might want to pause the film to just have a look at them. So I saw the men handing out food, and the men handed out food to those in need. One of those is written in the first person, and one of them is written in the third person. Yep, you've got it. The bottom one is a third person. So it's as if somebody is watching what is happening. Yeah. So remember, we're thinking about watching what is happening and sharing that very clearly. You are not involved if you are writing in the third person. You are watching, or you have watched what has happened. Okay, we've got also everyone looked content as they received their donation. Okay, and the top one is again in the first person. We've got, we shared a brief moment of joy as if they were part of it. So we wouldn't use the first person, sorry, if we're writing as a news report. It would definitely be the bottom one. Okay, Primary 7, on you go and find a lovely good news story. Write a plan today, write a news article tomorrow, and share them with me.